Fox 59's Aaron Cantrell is live outside the city-county building.
Our Aaron Cantrell has been following these stories all day long.
CBS 4's Aaron Cantrell spent the day digging into this story.
Well, Lindsay and Dan, I'm currently here on Pennsylvania, right next to where Five Guys is downtown, and actually 2 dumpsters are on fire. You can see protesters there in the distance. Good news is, the woman says when she opened the bag, she found her car keys. She also found her cell phone. The bad news, that $500 she withdrew from the bank, it was still gone. The bridge here is closed. They're working to remove that semi from the bridge, and once it's actually gone, they can kind of get an idea of when the bridge will be back open. Family members believe she got into her car, started to drive home down Webster. Then at some point as she was driving, instead of coming to a complete stop where you can turn left or right, they believe she may have driven it right into this pond. They also say when authorities pulled the car from the water yesterday, they believe and felt it was Esther's car based on the license plate. Right over here is actually where Chaffin Chapel Road is. Now authorities are not letting us go through there because there are tons of trees down, tons of power lines. As you can see here behind me, a rally is underway right now. There have to be at least hundreds of people out here. Now this comes just a few hours after Vox Booker spoke with the media, and for the first time today, we actually heard from some of those witnesses. In the most recent vehicle break-in caught on camera, the suspect pulls up to the truck, comes to the window, smashes it, and then pulls off. If you come across a current just like this one and you don't feel comfortable going down it, officials say try to get close to the edge. Once you get down into the creek, you can easily smell that odor of the jet fuel, but right now the Marion County Health Department and IDEM, they're overseeing the cleanup process. This is the scene behind a home on South Belmont Avenue. The people living here, they were evicted from their home and moved outside to this property. But neighbors say it's time for them to go, and the courts agree.
It's like that every day. They won't clean it up.
A yard filled with broken furniture, dirty clothes, TVs, and trash. This is Diane Rosca's home.
This was only supposed to be temporary. It was like maybe a week. And then it got to be a point where it was like this.
She claims to live here with 6 other people. Neighbors say they've seen close to a dozen there.
Me and my husband, my 2 boys. Another couple stays here. Sometimes his brother stays here, sometimes they don't. You know, it varies.
Rosca says her family fell on hard times and was kicked out of her home a few blocks down on South Sheffield, which left them homeless.
You know, I'm not trying to break the law.
Gary Phillips lives across the street. Him and his neighbor have been working to get Rosca and the other squatters out of the neighborhood.
They're always arguing over there about one thing or another.
Phillips says they've threatened his neighbor with a BB gun too.
We didn't know if it could have been a pistol or we didn't know what it was.
A spokesperson for IMPD says they responded to the property several times, but officers lack the legal authority to make them leave. It must be the owner.
The landlord of this place says it hasn't even been here to say anything to us, so, you know. It's just the police and the neighbors complaining.
The Marion County Health Department received 2 complaints, the most recent one being on August 12th. An inspector then cited the owner of the property, Lost Investments LLC, for violating Chapter 10 of the Health and Hospital Corporation Code. But since they couldn't get a hold of the owners, they went after one of the squatters, Ronald Sander.
I don't understand why it would take that long to make something happen.
A Marion County judge has issued an order for the folks living here to vacate immediately, and the judge wants a crew from the health department to come out and clean the property. No official date has been set. On the west side of Indy, Aaron Cantrell, Fox 59 News.
I don't know these people in person, but the personality showing through the pictures, I feel a connection.
The cliche saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words, rings true in Sabrina Chow's art studio.
Like this one, that smile, that movement is just so energetic, and I can feel them.
But like any picture, it only gives a glimpse into someone's life.
It's so sad to look at that happy face just passed away.
This man is one of thousands who've passed away from COVID-19.
Luckily, our family is still staying safe, but I've heard a lot of stories, sad stories.
When the virus started taking lives in the States, Zhao thought using her talents was a great way to give back.
It's a really interesting composition.
In April, she started this project of drawing portraits of COVID-19 victims.
We're basically staying home and jobless, but I know people out there have worse situations than us.
Sabrina has kind of brought us all together through this project, through this, this horrible pandemic.
Angela James's mother, 81-year-old Beverly Hurley, died of the coronavirus while living in a nursing home.
We miss her a lot.
She was one of the victims Zhao chose to draw.
Love the smile. I love her with her hair, and it's just such a good picture to work from.
She loved this little gray patch that she had on the side of her hair. So the way that she portrayed her, the picture, she got that spot that my mom loved.
Zhao's work makes James feel less alone.
Kind of gives me a little hope and encouragement, you know, that I'm not by myself in this.
A portrait won't bring a loved one back to life, but it can recapture a moment in time when it was just a little less gray.
If you can build up the connections between you and the person you're drawing, and that's some very powerful energy.
Reporting in Carmel, Aaron Cantrell, Fox 59 News. Yeah, Trevor, Chris Johnson's family never thought he would be murdered. They say he was the sweetest guy you ever meet. They believe someone took advantage of his kindness and murdered him along with his friend.
When he was 15 years old, I interviewed an incident that happened with my son. Now I'm interviewing his death.
On Saturday, something didn't sit right with Lachelle Norton.
I called him all day yesterday. He wouldn't answer.
Her 27-year-old son, Chris Johnson, wasn't picking up her phone calls. She sent her husband to Johnson's Sharon Avenue home to check on him.
I get to the front door, and the front door was unlocked. So as soon as I opened the door, I noticed the other gentleman laying on the floor.
Norton called 911 and went back in to look for his son, but didn't see him. His wife, Lachelle, told him the news over the phone.
She was like, they said they found 2 bodies. And I'm like, how did they find 2 bodies? I mean, I've been standing there since 6 o'clock, you know, and nobody never said nothing to me.
Police haven't released a motive or any information about suspects. They do believe both victims were murdered.
I think the friend was wrong place, wrong time. And I think, oh God, that family, I don't know the family of the other victim, but I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Lachelle says she has proof someone was trying to set her son up and knows who killed him.
I even took you by your hand and I told you I loved you. But you know what? Do me a favor. Do me a big favor. Call the detectives and turn yourself in.
She finds comfort in scripture, knowing in the back of her mind her son isn't coming back physically.
He was a sweetheart. He'd do anything for you. And
If he had a heart of gold.
But will be next to her spiritually.
we never die. Only the flesh goes back to the earth. Can't kill the soul.